My husband has been cracking his married co-worker for over a year behind my back, all while being an absent father to his kids, one of whom is in chemotherapy, and I'm barely hanging on while he's here ready to marry her. My husband and I have 3 kids, 8, 6, and 2, the oldest of which has cancer, and the mistress has 2 kids, 4 and 20. My husband and I have had the occasional conflict here and there, and while I acknowledge it can sometimes be a struggle, we generally got along well and always apologized at the end. Though the conflicts we had were only occasional, they did sometimes feel like a lose-lose situation because neither of us felt like our feelings were being heard due to defense mechanisms and other triggers. I had asked several times if we could see a therapist and work out some better conflict resolution skills, and he always said he wanted to think about it but never actually agreed. I decided to attend individual therapy to work on my own resolution skills. Despite this, we had what I perceived to be an otherwise pretty happy and loving relationship full of laughter and connectedness. Unfortunately, this week my husband unexpectedly told me he has fallen out of love with me and that he wants a divorce. On my birthday. He said it was because of how we handle conflict together, and he's known for a couple years it was inevitable. I was completely blindsided by this because I would often periodically check in to see if he was happy, and he had always said yes. He said brutal things about dreading being in the room with me and being intimate with me. I was absolutely shattered. He became so harsh and cold that it was like he was a different person. He has never talked to me like that in 16 years. He said he wanted 50-50 custody of my kids, and I was crushed because my babies are my entire life. Friends and family were concerned he was cheating. I work 12-hour shifts and rely on my husband to do school pickups, but lately he was frequently working through lunches, which left my parents to pick up the kids. He also worked late and would delay picking my kids up from their grandparents' house for a couple hours. I was always so appreciative of how hard he worked for our family. I didn't want to believe it, but when I checked his phone I discovered everything. Lots of nude photos from both of them. Videos of them cracking at work. Videos of them having cracking in hotels. Face selfies of my husband waiting in my son's chemo room. Conversations about arguments my husband and I had, and the mistress responding and saying I had to get a clue and that she was happy he was able to put it back on me. I screenshotted everything and sent them to myself before I confronted him. Turns out he is in love with his mistress and wants to be with her. He said it's complicated and that she has not told her husband about the affair. It's been going on for over a year. My son was literally diagnosed with his cancer in September, and I'm honestly sick to my stomach knowing what he has done throughout that time. Despite it all, I am completely devastated to lose him. His conversations with her look like a completely different person. Never in a million years would I have guessed that was him. I sent him away to sleep in his work office that night, but the following day he called and said he wants to be with his kids and be at the house indefinitely until we finalize the divorce. He has a right to be in his own home, but being around him has been making me physically ill. I am absolutely miserable. Clueless on where to start and heartbroken watching him leave the house and knowing where he is going. I've told him that legally I am still his wife and that I do not want him talking to his mistress at all while he is under my roof or around my kids. He has agreed to do that, but he has been so deceptive that it doesn't mean much to me anymore. I can't imagine being stuck in this situation for months or longer. He even had the nerve to ask me if his mistress can be around my kids. I'm so furious, so sad, so distressed, and just feel like I want to die. My kids don't know what is going on yet, but they have been sensing that I've been distressed. I'm trying to hold it together and lean on family and friends. I'm also super stressed about losing our home. My husband wants to sell it, and my parents have mentioned they may be able to buy him out. I haven't told my husband this because I need to figure out how that might work, and I don't want to make his life any easier at this point. My credit is May and interest rates are so high that I'm afraid I won't be able to keep my low interest rate from when I bought the home a few years ago if they were to buy him out. It's all just too much to lose at once. I can't eat. I've lost 10 pounds in 1 week. Can't sleep. Never been so depressed in my entire life. In 1 week, almost every single aspect of my life has been threatened. Someone tell me it gets better because I am barely hanging on. Commenter: 6 things to do right away. First, see a shark lawyer with all the evidences of his cheating. Even if you live in a no-fault state, they can be used as a bargaining chip to get a better settlement. Second, do STD test to make sure that he didn't give you any. Third, find a therapist to start your healing journey. Fourth, start to gray rock your WH. Ignore him unless it's about your children or your pending divorce. Fifth, concentrate on your children since they will go through the traumas of his betrayal with you. Be their rock and support. Sixth, tell all your families and friends about his cheating, so they know why you are filing for a divorce. It's time to focus on your physical and mental health. Your children need you more than ever, so make sure to eat well and take good care of yourself. Don't believe anything your WH says, and don't take him back no matter what he promises. And make sure to let OBS know about his wife's cheating. It will take time, but you will heal and move on. You will come out of this tunnel of pain one day with a smile on your face. So be kind to yourself and be patient. Wish you a speedy healing and all the best. Update 1. It has been a few weeks since I found out about your affair with my husband. I recently read the messages you shared with my husband during the most vulnerable and painful conflict of my life. I saw what you wrote about how you felt I should get a clue and that you were happy that my husband was able to put it back on me. I would like to share with you what exactly was on the line during that conversation and why I was so shocked and devastated by it. In an instant, everything I have loved for the last 16 years was taken from me. When he mentioned divorce, it was a complete blindside. That word had never come up in the entire length of our relationship together. I am not blind to the fact that conflict was sometimes a struggle. It was something we were working on, and we regularly made an effort to try to listen and apologize. I was also prioritizing therapy to help improve on our conflict resolution skills and identify any unhealthy defense mechanisms we had. Whenever I asked him to try therapy, he always said he wanted to think about it, but ultimately he never did it. Outside of that, we had what I had perceived to be an overall happy relationship full of love, friendship, and laughter. When I was uncertain how he was feeling, I would ask him and he always said he was happy and that he loved me. It is clear now that he was lying, but at the time all I had was his word and his actions to go off of. The day he mentioned divorce, I was suddenly facing the potential to lose the love of my life, my best friend, my home, and the livelihood of my 3 babies with no warning. I'm sure you can imagine how that might feel. Imagine now that your life is crumbling before you and then you are left in darkness for days, uncertain whether it all lives or dies. This is how I felt during the conversation my husband retold to you. I was terrified of losing my family. I couldn't eat or sleep. All I thought about was what it meant for my kids and my 16-year relationship. Each day that went by, my husband repeated that he was too tired to talk. After a couple days of this, I needed answers for the sake of my family. I see that you wrote how aggravated you were that my emotions and feelings needed to be addressed immediately for my own relief. Sincerely, I hope you never have to go through the terror of this same ordeal. Never in my life have I felt such overwhelming pain and sadness. Ever. But thank you for your input anyway. I am writing this letter from one woman to another now. My husband made the choice to be unfaithful in our marriage. He is the one that chose to violate that promise, and I will always hold him accountable for that. That being said, you should also know that your affair with him has destroyed an entire family. My sons are sensing the distress in the air and have been asking where their dad is. They wait to eat dinner with him until their food gets cold because they want to eat as a family. They have been frequently asking why he is so late. I also rely on my husband to pick up the kids from school on the days that I work, and have noticed that lately he has had to work through lunches and stay late, which left my older parents to have to pick them up from school and take care of them for hours longer than they expected to while the boys waited for their dad. Now I know why he was always late, but they don't. The kids don't understand why. My oldest son is also going through chemo treatments and pending assessment for autism. He doesn't respond well to change, and we have been very concerned with how this news will affect his condition and recovery. If he relapses after this situation, you should know that I will blame you for it. My 2-year-old has been crying almost constantly and clinging to us as we try to leave. He is a baby, and was under a year old when you started this, but they pick up on more than you think. My 6-year-old asked why his dad wasn't there in the morning, and I had to lie to him and tell him that he was working early. I also want to thank you for the lovely surprise of realizing that I needed to make an appointment to check for STDs as a grown married adult. My husband has been intimate with me throughout your entire affair. I know you are also married, and so it's safe to assume you have also been intimate with your husband all this time too. I just don't know why you wouldn't rather use the strength of your womanhood to further your sisters. Instead, you have chosen the cowardly route of tearing other women down to further your own ends. You know that he's a married man and you laugh about it. He just had a baby and he has a wife and 3 kids. I just don't understand what kind of self-respecting woman would do something like this. You have caused me so much pain and sorrow. I could never do this to another human being. You should tell your husband before I do it for you. Update 2. 13 months later. First of all, I just want to thank each and every one of you that commented and messaged me with support last year. It took me a while to respond, but I am finally at a better place and wanted to update this group since it may help someone else. First and foremost, my son is officially cancer-free. He rang the bell of chemo completion at the end of 2024. He is healthy and living a normal childhood now with his siblings. I'm truly so grateful. I took the advice of many on here and got the best attorney in town. Called multiple other high-talent ones as well to get consultations, as I was told it would then be a conflict of interest for them to work with my husband at that point. I filed for divorce in August 2024. The divorce was final in November 2024. My attorney told me everything to say to my ex and was a secret ghostwriter of my paperwork. He never even knew I had an attorney. I told my ex at the time that I was trying to puzzle through the best housing scenario for our kids. My oldest child was still going through his chemo treatments and is also autistic, so he doesn't adjust well to change. I knew if we sold the house, the boys would lose their childhood home and also change schools, which would be rough on them. By the grace of God, my ex voluntarily offered to walk away from the house and forego hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity in the home if I paid off his debts. He had maybe $30,000 in debt and a car payment, so my incredible parents helped me pay him off, and we essentially bought him out of his portion of the house while still keeping my low interest rate from the time we purchased. My ex didn't have a hint of remorse up until this point, but I think he finally realized the effect all this would have on his children. He was also heavy in his affair fog and probably just wanted to wash his hands of me as fast as possible. So when he offered to walk from the house, that was the time I ran to get an attorney and make sure it was done correctly. We talked to title companies at first, but the attorney told me it was not necessary to do that and that my ex could sign an interspousal transfer deed along with our stipulated judgment and the house would be legally mine. My ex and the affair partner are still together. He has told my kids that he has a girlfriend and plans to move in with her and my kids in April. I have the kids in weekly therapy and they are doing well with it. My ex decided he didn't actually want 50-50 custody and I have 70% custody of them, so my ex essentially gets them every other weekend and one random overnight weeknight a week. This was his idea. It was hard to be away from my babies, but I tried to remind myself that they were safe and happy with their dad and used that time to focus on myself. He also pays me a large amount of child support every month because of this requested custody arrangement. Not sure he ever realized this, but it is very helpful. I have revamped my home and redecorated it to make it my sanctuary. I absolutely love it. My ex is renting an apartment in a cheaper part of town. The affair partner's husband is now aware of the circumstances and they are in the process of completing their divorce. I am personally doing very well now. I lost a significant amount of weight and go to the gym regularly. I also go to church and therapy every week. I have heavily poured into my self-growth and have become a completely different person full of peace and contentment. I also regularly invest in beauty treatments that make me feel happy: hair, nails, lashes, and my confidence has never been higher. My ex still tries to trigger me and speaks in a condescending tone on a regular basis. I took the advice of some people on here and grey rocked the SHT out of him. He truly doesn't know what to do with himself anymore. It's like I've pulled an Uno reverse and he can't process it. Between my mental growth and my physical changes, he always looks visibly confused, haha. On the bright side, the affair partner gained a bunch of weight and it has been fun to hear people's commentary on that. Normally I'm a total girl's girl, but after the way she treated me I will secretly relish in that. I decided it was important to keep conversations with my kids regarding my ex's relationship with the AP age appropriate. They don't know about the way the relationship started, but if they are older and they ever ask, I will be honest with them. I am now dating someone new. It's been a little scary to be back out there, but I am trying to trust in time, consistency, emotional intelligence, and high effort. You all deserve the same. Truly, I am so grateful for every single one of you. I was suicidal for some time, but I saw a psychiatrist and started some meds, and it has changed my life. The darkness gets easier, my loves. Hang in there and message me if any of you ever need anything. God bless you all.